Okay, so to get to the performance management module in the solution, the module is very configurable in what you can do. And the reason I say that is it allows you to go and create as many different templates as you want. And also from a configuration perspective, it allows for different types of configurations to fit into how you want to drive your performance evaluations. So that's the one part of it. And then what you can also start doing there is you could either follow the more traditional route where you've got your maybe your HR admin person that would then go and define your different KPAs and KPIs. Those templates can either be set up then on company level to be more generic, or it can be more specific per department or per position. Or you can go an alternative route where you as an organization go and set up the performance areas, but the KPIs can then either be set up by the manager or the employee. So they can initiate a change on the KPIs, and that can then workflow between the two. So between manager and employee, they can then go through that entire contracting phase until they're happy with the KPIs, and that will then form part of their performance evaluation. So once the contracting and the templates has been set up, you would then typically launch those evaluations to the different raters. So you can do 180 reviews or 360 reviews, depending on the number of raters that you'll be adding to an evaluation. And you can then also determine the weighting of each of those raters. So a peer rater, you might only want to get the information back from them, but you don't want their scores to have any weighting on the overall scores. Okay, so when it's launched, as a rater, you will get an email notification telling you about the evaluation sitting in your inbox. And when you log then into ESS, it will show those different evaluations. So I'm going to show you two examples. The one is more in a survey form. So you could also potentially use the performance management module to conduct surveys on, maybe to check how happy your employees are in the organization. And the other one is more atypical, I would say, question-based. It goes through a sequential sequence in completing the performance evaluation. So if I click on my evaluation, it will take me into that specific page. It will pop up this message. This message is tailored by you as an organization. So you can tell the rater whatever you might need to before they start this process. Click on close, and then you're in your evaluation. At the top, you will have a progress bar telling you how far you've progressed. And what's nice here is the fact that maybe you started the process, but for whatever reason you need to leave. You can log out, log back in, and start from where you left off. So it will save your data. I can see the person I'm doing the evaluation for, the period I'm doing the evaluation in, as well as the template I'm doing the evaluation on. Here on the left-hand side will be my typical template. So this is very company specific. Your template might look entirely different than this one. You might have different KPA, different sections, different KPIs. It all depends on how you want to structure and set this up. If it's got a green tick next to a specific item, it just means you have completed that section, but you can always go back to it and go and update your information. Okay, so if I were to go back to objectives over there, it will take me into that specific screen. So it would show objective, my description, there might be a means verification, and then you've got your different rating scales. The scales also entirely configured by you and a company. So you could set up potentially 10 different scales. You might have a 1 to 3, a 1 to 5, a 1 to 10, etc. And you decide what the numerical values are, the descriptions, as well as the explanations. The rater would then go in, select the applicable option. You could also make comments compulsory. They then type in a comment there. Another thing that's nice here that you can also do is you could have it set up that the manager can see how the employee rated themselves per section. So it will actually show you that as you go through this process. And then you click on next and it will take you through to the following area. One thing that hasn't been linked to this specific evaluation is the performance journal. So that is another way in which you can keep evidence or upload any documentation that might have a bearing on the given evaluation. So your evaluation processes might be every quarter, every 6 months. So a lot can happen in that period. So anything that you want to upload, it might be a monthly discussion with the employee, it might be a nice email from a customer, it might be the sales figures for the last couple of months. You can upload it there, and then whilst you're doing the evaluation, you've got access to that information, and that can help you determine your selections as you go through it. When you then get to more or less to the end of the evaluation, you could also make succession planning questions part of your evaluation. So a typical employee would then potentially stop at section 3, and then the manager can keep on completing it up until they've completed all the succession planning questions. Okay, so that's how you would engage with that portion of it. On the other template, as I said, this is more a survey type look and feel. So here you can see, once again, it gives me a message, but now I can see all my questions and everything on one page, and I can do my selections by just clicking there, selecting the appropriate one. I can expand on these areas, so it will show you descriptions if you want to view it that way. Do your selection as is, click on save, and then go through this evaluation or survey, whatever you want to call it. Once you've completed it, you can say finalize your evaluation, or you could tell the system, I don't want to finalize now, finalize later. And then there's also certain triggers that you can do once you finalize it, to either send it through to employee to review, and then either accept or reject the score, etc. Okay, so that is how a rater would typically engage with the performance management module. As a manager, they will also have an additional widget on ESS, which is called My Team's Performance, where they can get an overview of what is happening in their team. What are the average scores, the highest scores, lowest scores? They can toggle between different processes. And then also, if they click on the subordinates tab, they can see how their subordinates actually rated as well. On the menu bar here on the left, you've got a performance section over there. If I drill down into it, there I can see history, KPIs, and journal. So journal I've already shown you. This is where you upload any relevant documentation that might have a bearing on the evaluation. So I can say effective date, the subject, attachment description, the physical attachment, and I can have a detailed description over there. I click on save and it will be added there. KPIs is the scenario where you would then allow a manager to go and edit or go and create certain KPIs and have that workflow through to an employee. Okay, and the last one, the history, will show you a detailed history of all the evaluations that I've been linked to as a rater, and also the status of it. Is it still in progress? Has it been completed? How many participants or raters partook in this evaluation process? And I can drill down into that information and see, okay, so there was 2 raters. One was a manager rater, one was a self rater. This was the start date, the end date. Here's my scores and my weightings. And I can either now see the template per rater, or I can see an overall score there. Okay, so there you can see the scoring information there. Okay. If I then go back to the administrative portal, as I said, I think the true power of a performance management module resides in the reporting capabilities. So if I go to the report section over there, you've got your standard reports that come on the solution itself. There's over 90 different standard reports, which include your payroll, HR, leave, training, costing, performance, workforce planning, and legislative reports.